Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll be offering the A8.
Representative Acom is offering the A. Would you proceed with the amendment?
Yes, let's see, I am on here. And I would like to request a roll call.
Roll call is granted.
Great. And so the A8 is a very simple, I think it could be considered a friendly amendment.
That's my line.
That was actually, this goes back to Dave Baker days, when he used to be on the committee before. So I'm trending my Dave Baker here. This is a friendly amendment. And it's looking at Section 5 of the bill, talking about carbon capture and carbon sequestration. And it's deleting that section for a couple of different reasons. The first is that it is, as Chair Swedzinski recognized earlier, both carbon capture and sequestration are permitted within the current structure of the 100% clean energy bill. So this is duplicative and unnecessary. And if we're going to start listing technologies, then we should be thorough and list all the technologies. I think that we can all agree that there's a lot of innovation going on in this sector, in the energy sector right now. I think carbon capture and sequestration is certainly one of them. Battery storage is another. There's low temperature geothermal. There's a lot of work being done around things like small modular nuclear. And so being technology neutral has huge advantages for allowing flexibility and innovation. And so for those reasons, I would encourage people to support the friendly amendment, to be seen as friendly, and vote to remove that section of the bill.
Thank you, Representative Acom. Is there any other further discussion from members? Go ahead. Representative Baker.
Thank you for this. I don't disagree. I think it's actually, I'm asking myself again, new back on the committee. I wasn't here for the last 2 years when all of this went through, so I'm going to be asking, I'm going to be playing a lot of catch up. But I guess I'm kind of surprised, Representative Aiken, that you would want to remove something to me that makes so much sense to say, why would we take away this good idea or this part of the bill that the author wants to bring forward is to make sure that we are deploying every bit of technology that we can to make sure that our air is as clean as it can be. I mean, again, I think this is a great part of the bill, Section 5. So I would wholeheartedly ask the committee to not support the amendment because I think it's exactly what we're looking for. I think this is what I'm understanding is we're trying to get to is leave everything on the table, all options. If there's a way to develop and deploy the carbon capture here, let's make sure it's part of the bill. So I appreciate the author bringing this forward. So thank you very much, and I will not support the amendment.
Representative Vigo.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just thought I'd speak to this because this is language I've been working on for a while, so it's not friendly to me. But, you know, I think it's worth saying that when we passed 2040, 2040 was making it policy of the state to limit carbon emissions and get to zero by 2040. So if we made a state policy to get to zero emissions, we should have added language like this to help us get to zero by 2040. And I applaud Chair Swedzinski for adding this to his bill because he's trying to get at that while opening up the toolbox to give Minnesota businesses and Minnesota utilities every available opportunity to get to that point of zero while keeping the ratepayer in mind and keeping things affordable and reliable. So I will be voting no on the amendment. I encourage the committee to do the same.
Any further discussion? Representative Kraft.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll just point out that carbon capture and sequestration is allowed as part of 2040. It can be done today. So what this seems to do is to say, to put a thumb on the scale, bias it towards that. I mean, it can be done today. So I don't think I really agree with Representative Acom that we shouldn't put our thumbs on the scale here.
Any further discussion?
We're good. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Then we'll take the roll. Our CLI will take the roll.
Chair Swedzinski.
No.
Vice Chair Murphy.
No.
Acom.
Yes.
Yes.
Anderson. Baker. Carroll. Frazier.
Aye.
Hollins.
Aye.
No.
Jones.
Yes.
Mahamud.
Aye.
Meckland.
No.
Sexton.
No.
Weiner.
With 7 ayes and 8 noes, the amendment does not pass. Do we have an author for the A9 amendment? Representative Kraft.
I'd move the A9.
Thank you, Representative Kraft. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this is to remove the sales tax exemption, and I want to talk about this a little bit. So this, what's proposed here would cost the state, pretty close to $100 million a year. And I understand the concern, and especially for certain folks, of making sure that energy burden is lower. That said, if we want to spend, now, $100 million in the current time, we have to work to figure out where that would come from. But if we want to spend that kind of money on this, let's make it much more effective. I will be bringing a bill on the low-income heating assistance program, which has been a program that we've done in Minnesota for 40 years, that targets the folks that need it the most, based on energy burden. We could spend this kind of money on that program. We could extend it to the summer months, where, as with our warming climate, increasingly people are having issues with supporting their, working on their cooling issues. We heard from Ms. Annie Levinson Falk, that are folks that are behind on their bills, from what's happened in COVID times. So I think this is not the way to do this kind of thing, that if we're going to do it, let's focus on that bill. I would love to work with Chair Swedzinski on it. The other thing I would say is that by targeting this towards LIHEAP, to folks that really have the need for it, we'd actually be more effective on supporting economy in Minnesota too, because it's more likely that those folks are going to be spending all of that money and recirculating it back into the economy. So for that reason, I'd ask for a roll call.
Granted.
And I would, though I really appreciate the aim of this, I would say we can do a much better job at focusing this money where it's needed. So I'd ask you to accept this amendment.
Thank you, Representative Kraft. Is there any further discussion on the Kraft A9 amendment? Chair Swedzinski.
Thank you, Chair Murphy and Representative Kraft. I would ask members to vote no. I think this is a primary example of we need to give relief to those that are actually paying the dollars. And so this would give relief to business owners, families across the board, not choosing winners or losers, but just, as the cost of energy, we've seen through this obviously more of a tax-related discussion that we can have here in committee. But, you look at the tax incident studies, that whether it's tax on a corporation, tax on a utility, the tax incident studies talk that 95% of those costs get passed on to you and me, regular people. The cost of doing business is more expensive. We learned earlier that, we're 10% over the national average when it comes to business and business owners. And so, focusing that so that we can retain jobs, retain our competitive edge and grow our competitive edge over our neighbors across state borders, national borders, and across the sea. And so with that, I would ask members to vote no.
Thanks, Chair Swedzinski. Kraft, do you have a follow-up?
For all the reasons that I said, please vote yes.
Representative Kraft renews the motion to move the A9 amendment. So now Sharon will take the roll.
Chair Swedzinski.
No.
Vice Chair Murphy.
No.
Acomb.
Yes.
Kraft.
Yes.
Anderson. Baker. Carroll. Frazier.
Aye.
Hollins.
Aye.
Igo.
Yes.
Mahamud.
Aye.
Meckland.
No.
Sexton.
Nope.
Weiner.
With 7 ayes and 8 noes, the A9 amendment does not pass. Now we'll have discussion on the bill. Representative Baker.
Mr. Chair, thank you. I love being back in energy. I want to thank the author, the chair of this committee to bring a lot of things in a very important bill and did it quickly. You did it on the first day you were in session, basically, and I appreciate that, Mr. Chairman. It's a lot here, I get it, and we're going to have a lot more conversations about these kind of ideas as we go forward. Because I think what this bill does is it leaves all options on the table. It doesn't say what to get, but if we're going to have a chance to even consider nuclear, we have to address the nuclear waste discussion. We have to get to that point, but we can't even start talking about it unless we know that it's part of our language of what we can talk about today. So again, there's a lot to this bill. It's a lot encompassing, but it does put us in the right direction to make sure that all of our options on the table for all companies, whether you're small or big or the big IOUs, it doesn't matter. It's the ability that we can use, big hydro, whatever it is. Thank you, Mr. Chair, for really thinking this through and giving us a lot more tools to work with so that we have a chance of meeting our 2040 goal. Thank you.
Representative Acom, sorry.
No, you're good. Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I would like to request a roll call on the voting of the overall bill first. And then I would just say, I think that when we talk about ensuring that we have affordable rates, I think that that's a really important place that we all can agree on. I think that this bill and the efforts by this bill are not moving in that direction. When we talk about the impact on ratepayers in Georgia for the nuclear plant built there and the $500 additional a year just for that in rates, just for the nuclear plant, that's not affordable in Minnesotans' minds, in my mind. And so we, I think, recognize that there are, there's volatility in the fossil fuel market. We saw what, you couldn't hear me. Okay.
Oh.
See, I project. Thanks, AJ. Sorry. It's the whole senating thing. I'm not used to the Senate way of doing things. Affordability is important, and I do think we need to focus there. I think that some of the efforts in this bill are actually looking to limit innovation at a time when we need innovation even more. I think putting the thumb on the scale for carbon capture or sequestration, for those to be the only technologies being called out, I think is a disservice to Minnesota and the energy sector as a whole. I think the fact that we are in this bill looking to raise taxes at a time when our budgetary situation does not allow that, I think is downright irresponsible. I think that as we sit in a very close margins in our respective caucuses, and we know nothing can be passed off the House floor without bipartisan support, and there was zero acknowledgement or attempts to try and earn that today is concerning. And I think as we look for this bill to go on to the tax committee, I think there'll be a good, robust discussion. But I think we all need to get back to the place where our reality is today. And our reality is we need bipartisan work if we're going to pass anything. And we can have statement bills and we can have things that, we need to carry forward for advocates. At the end of the day, we need to be working together. And so I appreciate that, we got started on day one on a really big bill when we have a lot of new members on both sides of the aisle. There's a lot of information that we all need to be working on to level set and see the path forward. And maybe we have a hearing on small modular nuclear so that we can learn together about what some of the issues are. So I think that while I understand the rush for getting things passed and moving, I want to remind people we need to be working bipartisanly. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Representative Acom. Are there any other comments on the bill? Chair Swedzinski?
Yes, thank you, Chair Murphy. Thank you for the opportunity to present House File 9 before the Energy Committee. Just to get back, during the last time we were together earlier today, the question was asked about the Senate author, and it's just more of a paperwork issue between, we had reintroduced it, and with the reintroduction, the new bill and the Senate author, who is Senator Matthews, have just not behind the computer wall or would have been joined together. So that's all it is. So we appreciate that. Appreciate your support, and I'd ask for a green vote tonight. Thank you.
Chair Swedzinski renews the motion that House File 9 be referred to the Committee on Taxes. Sharon will take the roll.
Chair Swedzinski.
Aye.
Vice Chair Murphy.
Aye.
Acom.
No.
Kraft.
No.
Anderson. Baker.
Yes.
Carroll.
No.
Frazier.
No.
No.
I go aye.
Jones.
No.
Mahamud.
No.
Meckland. Sexton.
Yes.
Weiner.
With 8 ayes and 7 noes, the House File 9 will move on to the Committee on Taxes and is passed. I'd like to thank Chair for allowing me to have the gavel today. It was my first time at the gavel, so I apologize in advance for anything there. Thank you. And we'll be meeting this coming Thursday, February the 13th at 1 o'clock to hear Representative Mecklen's bill on data centers. So this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.